Hello and welcome to the Mid Cornwall Beacon and Repeater Group annual general meeting. Oh dear, oh dear.
I'm a bit out of order.
That's really off-putting, that is. I'm Paul Andrews, G6 MNJ, your current chairman. Since the AGM last year, our group's had a very busy year. Has achieved many great things. I won't list all the activities, but the highlights.
Got the right place, AGM.
Yeah. Come and sit down.
Sorry I'm late.
It's quite all right.
I've been this way before. Okay.
Come and take a seat.
Thank you. Norman M0RHW.
Yeah, I won't list all the activities, but the highlights include the new 2-metre repeater, the GP3NC, additional input on the amateur TV repeater on 77s. There are numerous other activities the group have undertaken, from keeping the grounds free of weeds and painting the shack walls. And I'd like to take the opportunity, whilst I'm sitting here as chairman, to thank everyone involved with the group over the past 12 months for all the hard work that gets put in, a lot of which goes on unnoticed. Before I got directly involved with the group, I'd never really considered quite how much work and effort goes in to providing things like the repeaters. Somehow sitting there pressing the PTT and chatting away, you just take it for granted that the thing's there. And the truth is, having been the chairman of the group and been involved with it, the truth is that a lot of work actually goes into it. And as I mentioned, we've all made good progress this year, and I'm sure demand will grow for our repeaters in the coming year. Certainly, I know for a fact there's a growing interest locally in digital phone communications, which could be very exciting indeed. And I'm sure that that will get some discussion a bit later on today. As these demands grow, say it will stretch the current group members, both in manpower and experience. Now, if you're one of those users who feel it's time to help, then today is your opportunity. I'm not looking at anyone particular, but clearly the group's success and its future is in all our hands. And if you can afford to give up a little bit of your time, or a lot of your time in the coming year, then I know it will be gratefully appreciated, and it will help the group move on and help things like digital communications, for example, become reality. So from you committee members to offers of occasional help, your input will be most welcome. As the meeting progresses, I ask you to consider this and feel if you're able to come on board and be part of the exciting future of the group, then make yourself known. Now then, on a personal note, unfortunately, I've been suffering bad health this past year. A few months back I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. This illness has greatly affected my ability to achieve much this year for the group, and actually for myself, if I'm honest. There's a layer of dust in the shack at home. Although it's currently under control and prospects are very, very good indeed for a complete recovery, I do start radiotherapy in a few weeks' time, and I've been warned things will get worse before they get better. That said, I am standing down as chairman, but I hope that I can remain on the committee so I can contribute in the coming year what I think will be an exciting year. Any band here who's not had a PSA blood test, I highly recommend you go see your doctor and have one. Because the thing about prostate cancer, if you have got it and you catch it earlier, it's completely survivable and you can walk away from it. Thankfully, that's the position I'm in. And if you think for 1 minute, oh, I won't get that, just looking around the room here, that's probably a couple, maybe 3. Coming along today, please get involved with the proceedings and make your voice heard. Okay? I'll now pass the proceedings on to our Deputy Chairman, Keith Holland, G3 MCB.
Thanks, Paul. And thanks for those where we all hope you get through it okay.
I'm sure I will.
I'm afraid we didn't have so much discussion about what we're going to do today, so I'll put some slides together. It may occasionally get a bit out of order, but I'd like to start by thanking one or two people. So let's thanks first of all to Mike and G4WBD and John G3IDB and their wives Twitter and Lynn for providing the food and drink today. Also thanks to Morris's wife who supplied some of the cakes as well. The format of the meeting this time will be that we'll have the reports from Treasurer, Secretary, etc. And then after the reports we'll have a break, and then after the break we'll have voting. So we'll have tea in the middle this time. We had it at the end last time and it got a bit chaotic to get out, as we have to get out for a barn dance or something, don't we? Yeah. Later, okay. And also thanks to Colin, GK1LQT, who's here somewhere, are you? Yes, there you are. The Constitution says that when we come to voting in a new chairman, that part of the proceedings must be conducted by somebody that's not standing for office. And so Colin's kindly, he will stand up and call the vote for that part of the proceedings. And then, once he's done that, the new chairman can then take over and run the rest of the things, run the rest of the voting. Okay? So that'll be just after tea time. Okay?
No problem, Keith.
And thanks to the Radio Geeks, yes, Andrew, who record this meeting. Apologies to them again that we were hoping to get in at 12 o'clock today. And I'll have to have some keys made to this building, John.
Or program.
Get in, yeah. Okay, first of all we start with the apologies for absence. Joe Bell, who's our beacon keeper, he's up in Lincolnshire at the moment and he sent in his apologies. I will give his beacon keeper report. Peter Fernie spoke to me on the air and apologised, said he couldn't get here, 2E0 PFA. Les Steele, G8MEH, he's been very ill for quite a long time and in fact he gave most of his equipment to the group to auction off the group funds, which was very kind of him. And Terry, 2K0XTM, also sent me some apologies over the air. Are there any other apologies anybody knows about?
G0 CMF, George Evan Casto. He's got no transport. And also G4 KAW down somewhere west, he's got no transport either.
Okay, John. Well, we've had the introduction from Paul. We've now come on to the minutes of the last AGM. A couple of things that came up at the last meeting was that the banking system should be changed. We only required one signature on cheques. I think John thought that was a bit, or Mike thought it was a bit unsafe. It was you.
Was that two?
There was always two. Two out of three.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, it's now 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So that's been changed. And also the Constitution, it was said that a trustee should be an elected member of MCBARG. Prior to last year, it was that the trustee had to be an officer of the group. The reason for changing that, the committee approved that change at the committee meeting after the AGM. The reason for changing it is that it costs us such a lot of money with solicitors. I mean, you can't believe we have a lease every 5 years, and the bills usually starts off around £1,000 to do that, which is a lot of money for our group. If we alter a trustee, and say I retired from treasurer, I'm a trustee, John's a trustee. If we retire, then they've got to appoint a new trustee, and then you've got to go through solicitors' bills, commissioner of oaths, and all sorts of things that we had to do. So we thought it better that whoever's a trustee remains a trustee, even if they're just a member and not on the committee. So that was the alteration. There were other, Mike's written a very comprehensive constitutional changes to take, I think they're Mike's words, to take account of the requirements of the 21st century. Our constitution was very much 50 years ago, and or 1976 when the group was formed. we're still working those through committee meetings. We've discussed some of them, but it hasn't as yet been rewritten. I've got a copy here if anybody wants to see it, and a copy of all Mike's amendments and suggestions. Are there any other points anybody would like to raise about the minutes of the last meeting?
I have, but I'll do it in mine, if that's all right.
Sorry?
I have, but I'll do it just randomly in mine.
Okay.
Just a couple of points.
That's fine.
Nothing major.
Can we be clear about the banking signatures?
Sorry?
Can we be clear about who's on the banking signatures?
Yes.
It's 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. There's 3 at the moment, and Mike,
Yeah.
John and myself.
Oh.
You've been taken off it.
That's fine.
That was your request.
Yes,
It's
that's
been
fine.
taken off it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it should stay like that, should it?
It did, because we had a little bit of a fracas with a bank in the middle of the year a couple of months ago when I got you to sign something. Do you remember?
That was to take me off.
No, I got you to sign to put my name
Oh.
down as having internet access to the bank. And that was the wrong... I just thought, oh, John signed it, that's all right. But some clever person in Swansea looked it up and thought it's been taken off. And it took ages for me to get in... I'm the treasurer, to get internet access.
So is that, it's 2 out of the 3 now?
It's 2 out of 3. Okay. Right, now we come on to the Secretary's report, hand over to John.
Apologies once again for the late kick-off. I came here yesterday at 1 o'clock and spoke to the manager in it and said, we'll be here at 12 tomorrow. Oh yes, we know you're coming. So they turned up at 1:15. It's a great tragedy. 2nd year running. Bit disappointed really, because they've just been awarded something from the Queen for this nice place. But there you go. Apologies once again anyway. And thanks very much for the effort you all applied. You got it done in double quick time. Okay, I know poor Andrew at the back there was pushed once again. Yeah. And as a bonus, they're going to have a barn dance at 4 o'clock here, so we don't have to put the tables and chairs away. Just push them out to the wall, please, and they'll sort them out when they come in. So that's a bit of a saving. It was a busy year for your secretary with 6 meetings to attend. The year started, as you know, with an early or late AGM, depending on your point of view, in January. And it was followed with 4 meetings in February, April, June and August. The year will end with a write-up of this AGM, and we will then look forward to 2017, okay, with a fresh pen and some new sheets of paper. And we'll go forward, hopefully, as our outgoing chairman said, with some digital action. Okay. The chairman and the secretary attended Cullington, Dartmoor, Cornish and Holsworthy rallies. We will be at the Plymouth rally in November for public relation point of view and fundraising purposes. And we communicate with our user base, which I think we've done very successfully this year. And we were ably assisted often by committee members, in particular dear Brian GOR there, who always seems to turn up just when he's wanted. Really magnificent effort all the way from Newquay too, which is a bit of an extended mileage for some folks. Thanks for it very much, Brian. The group decided we wouldn't attempt to fundraise from the Aviva project this year. It was agreed that we didn't have the level playing field, and the schools that competed, 1,000 pupils in the school plus 1,000 plus times 2 parents, it didn't stand a chance. But I checked on it this year, and the number of votes was so low, I think we might have scored. All right. And as you possibly know from last year, we were attempting to put solar panels up there and reduce our electricity bill. It's still a viable option, and if anybody's got any ideas on crowdfunding or how we can might raise some funds, do let the chairman or myself know, please. So there we go. Our website continues to bring in donations to the secretary via snail mail. PayPal works very well, and direct bank transfers we've now got to bring funds into the group. The website works well, but I need to learn a little bit more about how it works, and I think we could do with a hit counter on it, so we know how many people have actually accessed it. It doesn't get the sort of mileage that I would hope. You know, I was at the Newquay Club on Thursday and I asked one or two fellows and they hadn't looked at it.
Research Google Analytics.
Okay?
Look at that. That's what you need. Forget hit counter because that just counts the refreshes of the page.
Google Analytics.
Google.
That.
Yeah. Have a look at that, John. That's what you need.
Okay, yeah, cool, thank you. Yeah. Yes, so that'd be good because it helps with the PR database, which I'd like to compare with the one that Roger OCO does. Our databases are getting a bit separated. And there's this magic thing, I haven't quite worked out what it does, but it's called syncing. All you computer experts know what syncing is. I thought it was a bloody Titanic one down. It's something to do with a computer talking to your mobile phone and some other apparatus you might have. Well, I've got a web, what do you call it, an address book, and so is Roger. And I sometimes think we perhaps fall between two stools when we're communicating with the wider sense of the guys in Cornwall. Okay? We've kept our donors to Paul G6LMJ and the pledge plan on the web page for a whole year. That's been on there, all the donors who contributed towards the new repeater we've got. And I suspect that it's time to delete that now, along with the excellence that Andrew put in for the RadioGeeks, and bring our website back up to date with perhaps what's happening here and so forth. In its place, we might state how and when we might go digital. And a question to your secretary has been asked many times throughout the year when we've been at rallies. When are we going to go digital with HP especially, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, I know, Mike, it's a challenge.
No, it's not a challenge.
But going forward, digital seems to be all the rage. And I haven't got it yet from a repeater point of view. I've got it on ATV, but not voice. The GB3NC repeater has been used all the year, as you know, for the OSGB news throughout 2016. The news readers have been Trevor BHD, G4BHD, and Roger, G4OCO there, who's stepped up to the plate because the other gentleman, Trevor, G2KF, has been poorly. I'm not sure if he's still around, you know, but now we've got two good news readers working away on NC, and the roundup afterwards has been invaluable. I seldom come on myself, but I'm checking out all you guys who bothered to call in, because you're all in different places in Cornwall, and we get a good idea of the coverage of NC that way. Okay. A report about our absent beacon keeper, I would like to associate my comments with Keith at the end there. Joe has done the beacon keeper's work all this time, and as you know, he's pretty poorly and he's away at the moment, but he's standing down, and I'd like to thank him for the work that he's done on behalf of the group for the beacon keeping. And it looks like Nick there, G7KFQ, may well be elected this afternoon to take on the role of beacon keeper. During this year, we've had a 6-metre beacon fitted, FOC by the 6-metre group. It went in fairly well. There's a couple of little hiccups to begin with, which our vice chairman knows about because he had to rush up and sort out the GPS or something. We fell off the end of the world, you know, it lost its integrity. But anyway, it's working very well now, and rumour control says that we might be able to expand that to improve our beacons on the other frequencies. But that's something for the coming year, okay? That really word syncing came up again. The GPS synced with it or something. Yeah. The Air Training Corps, I'm not quite sure where you are with that one there, Steve, but the equipment's not there at the moment, okay? But the equipment is there for the Cornwall Search and Rescue. I haven't heard any complaints for that for the whole year. I believe they have exercise and use it, but it's a facility that's up there for Cornwall Search and Rescue. Is there any movement on the ATC?
Not at the moment. The equipment's still being repaired. It looks like I'm going to have to get complete new equipment at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm still
okay.
waiting on it.
And finally, gentlemen, I do have an asset register now. It's by no means complete. Things do change. It's a lot of pen pushing, as you probably know. But there is an asset register about what the group own. And that really completes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, gentlemen. Thank you.
Any
Gentlemen, I should say.
questions for John?
I would like to have John enter in his thanks for what work he does as a secretary. The man is behind the scenes as such. I'd like to put in a personal thanks and even a good thanks for what work he does.
Yes, but I think I was in business for many years and had lots and lots of secretaries, but John's minutes are better than any meeting minutes I ever had when I was in business. They always get the gist of the thing just right. Okay, moving on, there was just a couple of slides here which I think those of you that don't know the site might like to just see. We're on Hensborough Down, I think most people know that and where it is, but maybe one or two people here not so sure, just northwest of St Austell. And we're in the middle of Little John Clay Works. You can see that aerial view there. We're literally right where those settling tanks are, and we do suffer quite a lot from sand dust up there, as you might imagine. Right, now we come on to my bit, the Treasurer's Report. The financial year for the group ends on the 30th of September. So this report covers from the 1st of October 2015 to the 30th of September that's just gone. These are the accounts for the year. Everybody hates accounts, so I'll just guide you through them. Our income is on the left. We brought forward a bank balance last year of £2,337.33. We didn't have anything in our PayPal account last year to bring forward. The members' donations during the year of £550, and the donation via the pledge system for the new repeater came to £713.57. Then we had donations from various clubs. Newquay's a major donator each year, but we do get odd donations from other clubs. That came to £300. A lot of people have given us their old equipment now to sell at rallies, which is very handy. So that's under sales of donated items. You can see it's raised £346.50 last year. And we did sell one of the club assets, which shouldn't be on the asset register now. We've been trying to sell we bought about 11 or 12 years ago an FX 5000 repeater, which has been on a sort of standby situation, and that was sold in August for £75. It's gone to somebody down in Falmouth area, so you may hear there's a little bit of a dead spot in Falmouth, you can see. So you may hear an alternative repeater come up sometime from the Falmouth area. It's on 144 megs or so, but they'll have to go through all the palaver first. And talks to radio clubs last year was £25. Donations in PayPal at the 30th of September, just gone. We transfer, Paul runs a PayPal account, and we transfer the money over when it gets to about £200, £250. They're also, of course, donations coming in, but until it goes into the account, I don't really know quite who it's come from. So they're sitting in our PayPal account at the 30th of September was £224.21. And one odd item, donation towards an ATV controller. That was Keith G0KDD made a specific donation during the year towards a controller for the ATV system. So when you add all that up, the income, including last year's bank balance, came to £4,591.61. On the downside, the expenditure, as usual, biggest expenditure is electricity. In the accounts, the electricity always shows as the direct debits from E.ON. This year was £786. That isn't actually the cost of electricity, I must say, because it's direct debit, so we always end up with a bit of debt or a bit of credit, but it's usually about £650, something like that. Insurance we take with the RSGB for the repeaters, and we have to be affiliated to the RSGB, so we have to pay to get that insurance valid, so we have to pay £51 a year for that. Repairs and maintenance this year only came to £77.95. I can only think that there's a lot of people who haven't put bills through to me. That is very low for repairs and maintenance. We purchased the Yaesu DR1X repeater from the pledge system. That came to £630.80. This hall we've hired twice because we've had 2 AGMs falling in the same year, and that's come to £65. Somebody had an extra set of site keys. The rest of it is zero. I put them in because just to show that a lot of people pay for things and don't claim them. And I'd like to say thank you for that. No postage, no website costs. The food here at the AGM is donated by Mike and John and their wives, and costs associated with EchoLink. Roger runs EchoLink and all the costs associated with it. We never see any bills for that. And Keith runs the ATV controller and the streaming, and you never see any bills for that either. But I thought I'd just put those in there at zero so you get an idea of what's going on. So if you take our income minus our expenditure down at the bottom there, that gives a balance of £2,930.46. And thankfully that agrees with the amount that we were holding in Lloyd's Bank on the 30th of September, which was £2,706.25, and we were holding £224.21 in PayPal. So when you add those two together, it balances £2,930.46. So that's got rid of the boring accounts for you. We have to have the accounts audited, of course. Usually it's David Stocker at Bodmin, but he was ill this year. So Alan Moore, St Austell, acted as auditor. He's done the books for us before. He's an some of you may know him, he's an ex-St Austell bank manager. He lives down in St Austell. So he signed it off and confirmed that if anybody wants to see the books, they're here today. If everybody's keen on going through accounts, I've brought them along for you to see. Okay. So if you just take a quick look, I know some people don't like accounts, some people like to see what's happening. Our money came in this last year, financial year, 25% from Devon and Cornwall radio amateurs, 32% from the pledge system, 1% from talks, 1% from Keith's donation for an ATV controller. The PayPal balance is 10%, donated items 15%, Yuki Club 13%, and the sale of the asset was 3%. So that's where the money came from. Oops, sorry. Oh yeah, there's a few. This is just in addition to the accounts. We give the talks, £25 a talk to clubs, and I did one for Holsworthy last week, was it? I think it was before. Unfortunately, that didn't fall into this account, so it'll be in next year's accounts, otherwise it would be a bit more. And as John said, we attend 5 rallies a year. We've had 4 already, and the Plymouth rally is coming up on Sunday the 20th of November. It's coming over to what we spent the money on. There's the big red chunk, electricity, 47% of our expense. RSGB 3%, insurance to this hall hire 4%. Repairs and maintenance very, very low this year. You usually see that should be a quarter of the cheese, but it's quite low this year. And the DR1 repeater 38%. Just a quick word about the electricity costs. So I was expecting John to ask the question, why has it gone up so much? Do you want to ask that question?
I'm happy to do so, but I imagine it's for the new beacon that we were given by another group.
Well, I thought that too, but what I did was went back through the meter readings, and the meter readings are about the same. You know, the kilowatt hours for the 2 years, because we've had several beacons switched off, and I thought, well, that's a bit odd. It was 590 last year, 786 this year. That's quite a big difference. But if you look at last year, because we're paying by the regulators, when we ended the year, we were £54.20 in debt. And of course, they took that back this year. So that's £54 that we had to pay this year. And of course, it would have made last year's bill £644.20, the red figure at the bottom, if you added that onto the 590. This year, we've ended the year £92.68 in credit, because they took 12 payments of a higher amount. So if you take that credit off and take away the bit that we had for last year, the actual cost of the electricity is £639 this year, so it's roughly about the same. So having those repeaters up anyway, I thought you were going to ask that question.
But we've still got 2 beacons out of service, haven't we?
Yes, that's right. When they come back in, that'll go up.
Yeah, I say there's 2 beacons consuming electricity 24 hours a day, which are not on the bill.
That's right.
And 2 repeaters, the old ones use more on the seed than the old ones do as well.
Oh, I know. I think it's going to be higher next year. I fully expect that. So maintenance, I usually stick them. Sorry, where that's come from. You can see what happens. Our mast in the middle of a clay pit really gets hammered by sort of sandblasting, by the dust from blasting that's going on around the place, and that is that's one of the 90mm bolts. So it's quite a big one. You know, it's this sort of size, and it's ½ inch thick, and that's about 5 years life up the mast. And they're costly. That's why the maintenance bill I expect to see higher, because we do go through these. Pete's always take them up and down, and especially on the safety platforms. You know, people falling off. So could we just have a vote?
Are the new ones that you've added, are they stainless steel?
They're galvanised, they're not stainless. We've started buying stainless ones. Stainless ones are very, 90mm are hugely expensive. These are about £4 each. The stainless ones are really...
Won't they last long?
Well, they will, yes, but they're about 4 times the price. So, yeah, we have started fitting stainless for the smaller brackets this year. But the cost of a little 2-inch U-bolt stainless for the aerials was twice as much as a 90mm one in galvanised. So I hate to think what is. Well, Morris made up some, didn't he? Where's Morris? He did make up a couple of 90. I hate to think what you paid for those, Morris. It never appeared in the accounts. Very expensive, was it, at this time?
No, you just got to bend them and put the thread on, that's the point into.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for that. Can we have a vote to accept the accounts then, please? Yeah, looks okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks. I'm afraid you've got more of me, because Joe, unfortunately, is up in Lincoln, our beekeeper, so I've worked through it with him, and I'm just going to give... John's covered quite a bit of what's going on, so I'll whip through this quickly. This thing keeps appearing down here. For those of you who don't know, we've got 6 beacons, and they're the positions of the aerials. 50 megs of folded dipole, 70 megs 3-element Yagi, down to a 10 gig horn, 23 sevens is a flat plate, and then we've got a 3-element Yagi on 144, and the lower one is an 8-element Yagi on 432. They all point towards the middle of the UK northeast roughly direction. There's a slight difference with the 10 gig horn because the guy that gave it to us and installed it lives in Basingstoke, so it's slightly round towards, slightly, not quite northeast, more towards London area. That's the beacons that or the beacon areas that we've got there. And that's sorry, it's me leaning on this thing here. That's the beacons in the building at the site, and as John said, at the moment the 70 meg and the 144 meg beacons are off their old high units, and they've been giving us a little bit of bother, and so we're rather hoping that one or two of the groups, like the 6 metre group, might come up with something. And of course, Joe keeps an eye on Beacon Spot EU for anybody anywhere in the world can enter if they hear a beacon somewhere, can actually put a beacon spot in there. So it's quite useful to know your beacons are getting out. And the UK microwave group came along. G4NNS came down on his holidays at Tavistock and nipped over to realign the 10 gig beacon, and it was only 5 kilohertz out after 5 years, so that was amazing. I don't think the sound is working on this, but we'll give it a whirl. This is our 10 gigahertz beacon recorded in the south of France. Sorry, it's 750 kilometres. The area was facing northeast, roughly. And this guy's, we think, on the next mast along is a big dish pointing at Penzance. I think it's a BT thing. We think that our 10 gig horn is hitting that dish and then going off to the south of France. It's quite a long way to hear 10 gigs. Yes, as John said, we had a new 6 metre beacon given to the group by the 6 metre group in August. And it runs a mode called PI4, and if you're like me, I haven't got a clue what PI4 was. I had to go and look it up, find out. PI4 it's a mode where it's a 1 minute repeat. The green section is about 24-25 seconds of warbling tones. Then it has a fractional pause, then a CW ident for up to nearly 20 seconds, and then a solid carrier, as people studying beacons like to have 20 seconds of carrier. So that's what it repeats. A warbling tone, which apparently is a bit like JT65 and gets long distances at very low levels. And let's see if I can get the sound. Back to it. I lost the mouse, like this. This is the warbling tone that you get on the 6 metre beacon. You get that for 20 seconds, 24 seconds I think it is. Because I'm fairly close to the beacon in Bogdan, so it's a bit loud, but I'm told people can decode this almost without being able to hear it. And then it goes into a CW ident. MCB, and gives the locator, and then after that there's a slight pause and then the carrier, so you don't hear the carrier. That's the new beacon we were presented with, and this diagram on the right is PI4. You can see it's sort of frequency shifting. You can go on the internet and you can put PI4 in. You can download a little program, put it in your laptop, that's what I did, and then you can see it. You can see the tone flipping about. If you don't read CW, it decodes the tone. Well, not, it doesn't decode the CW, it decodes the tone and puts up whatever the beacon is that you're tuned into on the side there. Then when you've had it a week, you get a bit fed up with it. Come and do something else with it. And as John said, we also host the Cornwall Search and Rescue Team repeater and the St Austell ATC repeater, which Steve looks after. The main reason for that, of course, is to get the rates down. When we go along to Cornwall Council, our rates are 7,700 a year, rateable value. And I've just had a notice this week it's going up, but we're given 100% discretionary relief because of Cornwall Search and Rescue. Everybody in the council's heard of Cornwall Search and Rescue. Very few people have heard of the Cornwall Beacon and Repeater Group. So Cornwall Search and Rescue rings bells and gives us that rate relief. We pay for the electricity, it costs us probably £50 a year to run it, but well worth it in terms of getting 0 rates. And we'll make it last. I put this in because I thought that this is nothing to do with beacons. It's coming out now to the repeater reports. Keith, do you want to say anything about the ATV repeater? You use it a lot.
Well, it's running there. There is a little bit of a fault. I got a problem with the laptop as I'm on my 4th one. It keeps crashing out. But other than that, it's going okay. I can get in on digital, but I'm not running digital all the time for the simple reason electricity costs. Although everybody else can use it while it's there, I'm quite happy and content.
I was quite surprised actually. I had a count up today because one of the criticisms is that nobody ever uses it, and we're paying, and it is the biggest consumer of electricity, although it's only on for 10 till 10. 10 in the morning till 10 in the evening, but I tried to make up a slide of all those pictures of people that have come through this year, and there's 12.
Well, that can be addressed.
Yeah,
because you can have actual known people that's actually going to go in to use the system, have it so that you can, with the new type of mobile phone technology that everybody is slowly getting into.
With the 70% input, it could open it up to a lot of the country.
That's right.
Some of our users, this is Adam who's here today. I'm pretty well from Adam somewhere. Where are you? Oh, he's over the back there. Adam lives in Bradworthy, which is quite 5 or 6 miles north of Holsworthy. So he's 39 miles from the repeater, and he was dead keen to get some ATV signals going. And this was one of the photographs he sent me of trying to get a dish up a little bit higher, but I gather he's got it on a mast now. I mean, when you think it's 39 miles of amateur television, I hope this works. This was recorded a couple of weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago. I know it. Telling me it might have a virus, your TV.
Certainly has. From me.
I know. I know. Unfortunately, that more a fringe effect is the cheap camera I was using to film this with. I'm sorry about that. It's not really there. But that's Adam's picture coming through.
Thank you, Roger.
And then he was overridden by Keith, who came in from St Austell, because the digital signal overrides the analogue signal. Right. Yeah, well, so Adam, I mean, he really fought to get the signal through. It's in colour now. When Adam, like everybody starting with television, there's hardly any signal and a little bit of frame, and then it gradually gets better and better, and I think you're doing quite well from there.
Thank you.
39 miles is a hell of a distance to get in from.
You should be able to get in on digital soon.
Oh, I know you've been persuading him into digital. I told him he was a traitor. He's leaving analog to go off to digital.
He's got his PAs working now.
Yeah, you really conditioned him, Okay. Oh, this might interest you, Morris. Did you? Oh, is Morris?
No, I didn't catch it on mine, but anyway,
This.
I've never seen it before.
Morris went out on just behind us here on the St Austell Ring Road last Saturday, was it? Was it last Saturday?
Yeah.
He went walking along with a trolley and his TV transmitter and went up, and this was recorded by Bill, G4GPD in Bodmin, from the NQ repeater, and then there's a little bit of an experiment at the end. It's a couple of minutes this, he's edited it down to just show what a good signal Morris was putting through. If we can try it again. Oh, there we go. Yes, you've got a virus too.
Oh, very good.
So he's up on that little bridge, just over the back here, at the top of the St Austell Ring Road. There's a little footbridge. And they're pretty good. Well, these are about the same as the pictures I was getting at home from this. Pretty good pictures through NQ. A little bit of tearing.
Did you get into Plymouth as well, right, Morris?
Yeah, I'll get Colin. Yeah. Now there's interesting. You can just see NQ Mass there. Yep.
And this is your mobile, your
Yeah, it's in very mobile.
walkie-talkie set.
Quick lash up.
Completely self-contained, and I can't move it
I'm sorry, the sound's a bit low.
at this moment. But I can set up
Got
anyway.
any echoes, Morris?
Gives
What
hardly
you
an
up to?
emotion to it, doesn't it?
It's great fun. I wish you'd told more people about it. Well, I caught part of it because I was walking through the shack and I thought, oh, there's a picture on the screen and a colour picture. Now then Morris tried direct to Bill, which he got through. That's Bill's in Bodmin, and but unfortunately Morris had dropped the camera, and you'll see in a minute his autofocus went out, and it went to very close up, and you see how your finger prints stand out on it. It's beautifully focused, and in a second or two, there's a picture where you're still. You've got lovely focus on your fingers. Unfortunately, you lost the auto. Yeah, dropped it on the ground. That's the trouble with doing too much at once.
Right, trying to get organised. You don't realise how much stuff you've got to take with you.
What do you tell people when they stop you in the street, Morris? It's my
It's
hearing
alright,
aid.
it's alright. As long as you say the right thing the other end, it's alright.
Yeah.
You've got the police coming along and saying, what are you doing?
I haven't got that yet. No.
Me and mine did, and they told me to turn it all off.
Oh, yeah.
And the eyes just stuck out and said, I'm licensed to. Go away.
It's interesting because while Morris was doing this, pointing at Bill, he was actually opening up NQ as well, off the side of his aerial. So I was getting these pictures through NQ, and Bill was getting them direct. Okay, let's go on to another one now.
So it all goes to say you don't have to have digital, you can do it with analog.
And a Sainsbury's trolley.
Oh dear. I think you'll realise, those of you who don't tell you, there are two camps here. There's the cheap and nasty camp, that's us.
It's not cheap and nasty at all.
Or whatever. Right, now we come, that's television thing. Mike, would you like to say a few words about Mike's the repeater keeper for GB3NC and GB3HP.
Be a few words.
Oh, that's all right, man.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michael.
My report is in two parts. One as a committee member, one as the beacon and repeat dealer. Keith alluded to early in the year with the Constitution. at last year's AGM, we proposed a couple of bits and I wanted to go further, but we left that to the next committee meeting, which took place on the 20th of February. And I presented the bit that Keith's got. And what we decided was to forward it to all the members on the committee so they could have a good read of it. It was only a draft constitution change. There were some items that I still hadn't put on, and unfortunately throughout the whole year nothing's been done on it, which is, from my point, disappointing. To be honest, it's disappointing because the constitution is really to benefit to the committee and to the members, not to the people who donate because they're not classed as members. And really, the next committee, this year's committee, should make that a priority.
Michael, sorry, can I take you back there? You say the members that donate aren't members. Can you elaborate a little?
Strangely,
Not members of the committee,
no, members.
but members of the group.
Yeah. Strangely, I asked one guy whether he was coming to the AGM this year, and he said, I'm not coming, but I'm not a member of the group. I only donated. So because I only donated, I don't class myself as a paid up member. But I see on the board, it's all donations. Now, from the Constitution, I've been going around the country. I look at loads of constitutions. It's a bugbear of mine because I'm secretary at Davidstone Model Flying Club. And at one of the radio group's constitutions, I noticed a line that said, the liability of all members shall be limited to 1 year's subscription. And I thought, oh shit, what about the members of this group? The trustees are covered by the RSGB insurance. And when you read the RSGB insurance, it talks about the principles named in the Constitution, or the principles. When you look at the Constitution, the principles are the 3 officers. They're covered by the insurance. We own the mast, we own the buildings, we never used to, we only paid ground rent. If shit was to happen, it could be that the members, paid up members, become liable for a debt. So I strongly recommend that we should include some wordings that limit the liability of the members to maybe a year's subscription. It's not going to happen, but it may be. On the insurance, I read through the insurance on the RSGB website a couple of nights ago, and it talked about data protection insurance. That was one of my points in the changes to the Constitution. It makes a note that the data insurance will be paid up to a maximum of £250,000, but there's an excess charge of 10% of any claim, or a minimum of £1,000. And as the principles, you could be liable for a £1,000 bill as an excess. Oh, it's in there. So really the Constitution needs tidying up. And I think the next committee should make that a priority. That's what I've got to really say on that. I'm strong about the Constitution. It covers all members. We talk about donations, and really I think there has to be a divide between people who donate and people who become members. The Constitution says paid up members. Donators are donators. I think that needs addressing. Off my soapbox. Right, on to repeaters, but that's what I'm really here for. GB 3NC DR1 arrived last November, 2nd of the 11th. Simple job, just build a logic. As I said at the last AGM. Again, I have to repeat, thanks to John. If he hadn't bought a spare board 10 years ago, I could have still been playing around with it. It took me a couple of months to get it processed. In the setting up procedure, I ran it at home for a couple of weeks, no problem, except one time when somebody was working through it, it went into beacon mode and it just locked up. There was a fault in the processor. It took me a while to get the guy who was in France to sort that out, but we put a new processor into it. As far as HP and NC goes, they both run CUL logic. They're both set to fixed FM at the moment. They both run CUL logic. They both will take 77 Hz or 1750. Not as our website suggests that the HP will only take 77 Hz. It will take both. And when they're accessed, providing the carrier isn't dropped, you don't need any 77, you don't need any 1750. You can just carry on using it. NC runs 20 watts from the PA of the DR1, and at the back of the filter which feeds the antenna cable, the Andrews, there's 13 watts coming out the back of the filter box to go up the Andrews. HB runs 5 watts from the PA, and that goes straight into the Andrews. There's no filter, there's no filters on the output of HB transmitter. There's only one filter on the receive to just stop a bit of cross mod. NC runs 4 filters on receive, 3 filters on transmit, and all the filters are notch bandpass filters. So there's a deep notch at one of the frequency and a bandpass at the other. They were constructed by some guy 20 years ago. We changed them on. They're old pipe filters, but they were modified to actually give a notch and a bandpass effect. I had a bit of trouble with interference, and HB and NC just stopped them working. I still think it's RF. I've put ferrite beads on all the output leads. On both sets of boards, I've put ferrite beads on all the input leads onto the boards. I also looked at the old NC setup and the old logic, and with the help of another young lad who's nameless at the moment, I changed the pin settings inside the boards. And since April, I've never had to reset NC. We still have a problem with HP, and fortuitously, it was off this morning. HB was off, it evidently went off yesterday afternoon. The difference between HB and NC, HB is sitting in a made-up box, NC is in a sealed-down die-cast box. I've been thinking about putting HB into a die-cast box, but I want to wait until the next bit we talk at the moment. But also, there's a possibility that the connecting leads between the logic box and the back of the DR1 are getting close to half a wavelength or something of a wavelength from 70 cents. Now maybe up on site they may be using handheld PAs. Walkie-talkies, I don't know. But when I look back at the sheet, I keep a list of all the days that I have to reset it. And HB went off today, Saturday. The last time it was off was the 3rd of this month, and that was a Monday. Before that was a Sunday, then it was a Thursday. There's no set days, no set times. It just seems to happen. So I will put it into a die-cast box and see whether that makes any difference. There also may be a problem with static. The 77's beacon, when the 77's beacon's running, and you just scrape anything with a screwdriver, the load of static noise. As soon as you switch off the 77's beacon, the static goes. That may have something to do with it, but I'm not sure. And I was hoping this year that we could have taken the 77's beacon aerial down, looked at it and rechecked it. But that I think needs to be done. HP Logic was installed on the 19th of January because HP had been running with the DR1 for 12 months before that. So that was just a case of plugging in the Logic, coming home, 2 days later getting in the car, going up and resetting it. So it went on for a while. NC on the 29th of January, the NOVs for both repeaters were received by myself, and that was from the previous NOV over John IGB. So I hold both repeater NOVs. Unfortunately, our website says I only hold one, and John's still the keeper for NC. So we have to get him to give the rest of the talk in there.
That's simple. We just get on with the web.
Yeah, well,
and you haven't changed the call sign.
The website it's difficult. I can understand it, but the website needs to be tried to kept up to date. It's difficult. I do appreciate it. Briefly on the website, I would like my contact details put on the website. For future websites, I would like all the committee to be on the website, hidden behind an email address or a contact telephone number. I don't think we do enough to let you get hold of us. And it puts a lot on the secretary to keep going through because he's the only one who can be contacted via the website. It's not fair, is it? If we all, you could have a model. You could contact all of us. GB3NC was installed on the 23rd of February this year. A few days later, yeah, I went up. 24th. It was on the 23rd, I went back on the 24th and reset it. It went on and went on and went on until, as I said, in April, I did the changes and I haven't had to touch NC since then. In April, I changed the K-tone because some people were saying it was too high. So I changed the K-tone to bring it down to an acceptable level, I think. So everybody seems happy with that. And you know, a K is for NC, 2 Ks for to access the echo link via Roger. HP is only 1 R. You only need 1 R because there's nothing on it. In March this year, I installed a GMS switch, Global Messaging Service switch, which now I can reset. I can switch NC and HP off. They're both on the same power supply. I can switch them off, and I can switch them back on again from anywhere. I've got 2 young people monitoring it all the time, G4KAW and an even younger G0KTD. And as of today, KAW's told me 5 times, Keith only once. So, thanks Keith. Thanks KAW. But that's good. KAW, I was away in Wareham, text message, HB's off, on my phone, send a text, switch everything off, if anyone was talking sorry, boot it back up again, and luckily it boots back up. But it's HP that's causing the problems at the moment, so I have to switch everything off and I'm away. It saves me, this morning, text message when I got up at 11 o'clock, I switched it on, KAW, switched it off, switched it back on again, it's rebooted. From March next year, all repeaters will have to have some remote switching.
What's knocking out, Michael? The controller or the repeater?
The repeater's fine. It is the CUL logic.
So would it be possible to reset the controller 3 o'clock every morning? for that reason to stop lockups.
I can't,
I know you wouldn't be awake 3 o'clock in the morning to send a text message, but
well, yeah, well,
some form of microcontroller just to recycle the power.
it gets expensive, you see, because it's 28p.
Well, an Arduino, an
Yeah.
Arduino,
Oh, yeah, you could get a time
microprocessor would do it. 3 o'clock every
There
morning.
is a possible to reset it, but again, I want to solve the problem.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's an ongoing problem. It's not causing a major problem at the moment. I've got guys that monitor it. When I'm home, I'll monitor it. It's a problem, but there is an option to turn it on and off. But from March next year, all repeaters will have to have a remote switching. And that will be part of the renewal for the NOV. Apart from that, at the moment, I'd like to thank Roger, G4OCO, for the Echo Link. And again, that will be renewed next year from both of us on it, March next year. I think we can renew them now. Right. Plans for the future. I still believe that HB and NC primarily for mobile use, and I still believe that they should be open access to every user with every bit of equipment, old, new, coming. When I was away up country, I tried to work through some repeaters, just running the straight DR1 without any logic with it. I gave up in the end because I just couldn't get in between the conversation, off and on straight away. No, nobody waiting. And I don't think that's right, because you just can't get in. At a mobile station, if there's two guys chatting, click, click, you can't get in. Also, the DR1 doesn't conform with licence conditions, because although it gives its call sign, it doesn't give the subaudible phone access letter, because you can't program that into the DR1. When you try to add one, it goes, oh, you can only add spaces. You can't get the other letter in. Also, if it's not being used, it won't send its call sign every 15 minutes. One group up country has got some amateur in the group actually sends an automatic access to the repeater to open it, to forward it that it's being used, so it will send its call sign every 15 minutes. And they send that every 25 minutes. Cheating. So I think there should be logic on the repeaters.
Mike, can I just ask a question? Because if those of us that read CW, it still sends a C sometimes after the call sign.
It sends a C every time after the call sign.
Well, that's the tone, isn't it?
Yeah.
C is the tone.
Well, I since I've held it, I thought the previous holder had made a mistake. Because I thought it should have sent AR, did as end of over, but I didn't realise
that C is the tone frequency.
That the C is the tone frequency.
So it is sending the tone frequency.
Ours is,
yeah.
But up country one, if you run bare DR1,
sorry.
it doesn't.
Sorry.
All right.
I thought you said ours wasn't.
A straight DR1 mode.
No.
Plans for the future. Back in February, at the committee meeting, which was quite a hectic one, that we did the minutes. The changing constitution. Also, we talked about repeaters and the next stage encompassing the ASU fusion system. At the meeting, it was agreed that we could proceed forward by having NC running auto in but fixed out, and HB running auto in and auto out. So NC, anybody could use it, and also HB, anybody could use it. If the guy was listening to HB and he didn't have Fusion Digital and he wanted to know what was going on, in between the breaks, he could call in and the system would switch to FM, so they could still communicate. And I believe that's the way to go forward. but I also believe that we need to control it to encompass the CUL logic. So everybody, it's still the same as it is now. To do that, we wanted to buy a controller which in theory mates with the CUL logic to give the best of both worlds. And at the meeting, there was a short discussion about the required interface which was available from the USA. Should we buy 2 units, members' presence, while accepting the rationale behind the suggestion, but felt we should allow some time for HP and NCB repeaters to bed in as FM repeaters for this time being. I've yet to, and I still will go down that path as soon as I get approval from the committee. So I plan to put HB, auto in, auto out, see how it goes. If there's complaints and they want to go fixed out, fair enough. But leave NC as auto in and fixed out because of the news reading, etc., etc. I still go down that road, but I still need the ARCOM controllers. We've still got 100 and something left from the pledge system. ARCOM controllers are about $112 each. I'd like to put one on both of them, and the next committee, the first committee meeting, hopefully we'll get approval. They're quoting a 6-week delivery. I want to buy the complete plug and play. I don't want to have to cut wires or buy components, because I had enough buying components building the logic. So that's the plan that I think we should go forward for both NC and HP. NC, as people know, we have a funny... It's not shown on that one, that's a good picture.
That's an old one. That was the first G7 that went up. It's not
we've got a kink in the antenna. I think it's a loose joint. You can see the size of the antenna there. When you drive past, it's just sticking up in the air. But I bought a new one. That's the size of the antenna. This is a monobander from Cushcraft. 90 mile an hour rating, guaranteed for 12 months. I think the joint at the bottom on the one up the top may have come undone, or the sheath around the fiberglass has degraded and cracked. Hopefully it'll be repairable, don't know. That's the last one that Waterson Standard had. Cushcraft make another one that's guaranteed at 140 miles an hour rating. It's 30 foot long. And it's only $999. I've been looking online, and I'm looking because when we was on the old site, our collineum was a fiberglass sheath outer. I've been looking online to see if I can find a fiberglass sheath to go over that. And I'd like to try it and encompass it in fiberglass to make it last even longer. Now whether that would degrade, again I don't know. There's nothing else, apart from the 2 loading poles. It's just, when you buy it, you can adjust the length. It's resonant from 144 to 147. You've got a chart, you make it to the length, so I'll put it on my bridge. 1.1, 1.1 and a bit either band. I'll set it to 145.5, halfway between NC output and NC input. I go with HB and NC. I also, once that had been running, I was going to consider putting a Wires X node at home. Sort of selfishly, because then I might be able to work back through one of the repeaters. When I'm away from home, I've still yet to be able to work back through the Echo link via Roger into NC on RF. I can do it from home on a computer, and I can do it away when I'm on a computer, but I can't do it RF wise. So I'm still working on that, Roger. I've done the hustler. They talked about digital. Future is digital. As far as the Yaesu system goes, I think it's a compromise. I don't think it's as good as other digital systems out there. I was only over Damer Bay, speaking George Barnes and P&M down in somewhere. I was on Fusion. The guy down in P&M couldn't hear me. So we switched FM. No problem. I think the Yaesu is a compromise. Yaesu takes the signal, converts it to digital, doesn't matter what it is, then converts it back out to either FM. How many years ago? I can't remember. We used to have a true digital repeater up on site, which I think was GB3MC. And when you look at the progression of commercial equipment, GB7, I can't get away from 3, GB7MC. When you look at the progression of the commercial guys, Icon run D-Star, and now Kenwood seem to be taking D-Star on board. For a true repeater, which isn't a compromise, I think D-Star could fit the bill, and it would give more coverage to people coming down to the county. With that in mind, I would like the next committee to see whether they could approach the holder of GB7MC, without letting you know at the moment, to see whether it would be possible for that equipment to come back on site. We would have to put feeder up and an aerial, but from memory it's a single aerial. It only runs off of one. It's wide split. Don't think it will interfere with the digital TV. It's such a wide split. It won't interfere with HB. And then you have a true digital one. And I believe there's nodes which digital guys can work through. So I would suggest that the committee seeks to see whether the holder of that piece of equipment would consider reinstalling it.
Michael, you asked the question, the answer will be yes. Or if the committee asked the question, the answer will be yes.
Thank you. The other digital side is DMR. I know nothing about it. I think if we go too far down the line, we're only stuck out in the middle of nowhere. Visitors come down. So that's what I think. I think that's a way forward. It's a compromise. Nothing's set. We'll see how HB goes. I'll get the logic in. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then we'll consider just running HB on DR1. I don't know. So that's how I see the future. Thanks to Pete for going up and for his apprentice. It really does.
Thanks for Pete. Thanks for Pete for finding out about the satellite as well.
Yeah.
Yes, here.
Yeah.
The Chinese job,
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. During the year once I got the switch installed, I can now tell whether the mains go off up on site. Last year we had 2 mains out on site. One was 31st of March, it was off for 3 hours, and another one 8th of the 9th September, isn't it? That was off for 5 hours.
Yeah.
The remote switch I've got up there sends me a text, mains is off. Oh. Look at the beacons, they're off. Ah, it's all off. Look at the beacons and they're on. Oh shit. When I send a message to switch it all off, it texts me back, tells me the temperature up there. Today it was telling me it's 16 degrees on site. I don't think that's true because the little temperature probe sits by the switching device, so I think that gets warm. I think it's a bit off. It's good that it texts me as a reply, because when it doesn't text me, I know I've run out of credit.
Mike, when you put HP onto auto in, auto out. You don't have to soak test it anymore. Just direct straight in. Yeah?
Once I put the Arcom controller on it, I should have to take it home and run it and make sure it works, because I can run it at home. It'll go out on site and it'll be so tested up there.
Michael, the Arcom isn't a direct install. You need a secondary interface between it to talk, if you want to keep the features of the logic.
Yeah, well, I read from Arcom, you buy those interfaces
Yeah,
in one.
you do.
So that's
Yeah, you
how
need
I
that as
see
an
it.
additional cost.
Yeah,
Or else you start splicing the harnesses.
yeah, no,
You don't
it's gonna plug and play.
Yeah.
Boom, pray.
Plug and play, yeah.
I'll buy two, if they don't, doesn't matter.
We're going to have a short a break for tea and biscuits and sandwiches, thanks to John's wife and Mike's wife who are preparing it here. And then after the break, we'll come back and vote in the new committee. Okay? Thanks, Mike. Oh, also, Brian will be running a raffle.